Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On the Fly. Today, we are going to be taking a look and ranking all of the 2022-2023 NHL Reverse Retro jerseys. So, sort of the three things we're going to be looking at here today is number one, do they look cool? Obviously, if it's going to be an NHL jersey, they have to look cool in order to get high in the rankings. So, first thing is obviously, or do they look cool? Number two, are they meaningful? Do they have some sort of historical value from years past, or do they resemble the franchise in some sort of way? That's going to be number two. And number three, have they gotten creative with it? Obviously, with the brand new jersey, their world's their oyster. So we're going to see what they sort of came up with. And those are sort of the three things we're going to look at as we move over to the board today. We can see here we got sort of five categories, four, and then the one special Y category. Like, what are you doing at this point? We're going to start off with the Y first, and then we're going to go from the top to the bottom. So starting off in the Y category, this belongs to none other than the Philadelphia Flyers. What are you doing? Why are we doing this? At this point, why even have one of these reverse retro jerseys? You're basically just putting together, it looks like I could have made this on an NHL 23 rank or a team maker. Why are we doing this? If I can do it myself, you shouldn't be able to do this, especially with a team of graphic designers. Why are we doing this? What's the point? But with that, it looks like John Tortorella could have made this. If we're being completely honest, really had no creative design, nothing meaningful, and it definitely does not look cool. So for me, that's going to be my last place, my Y. And as we now move on to the top with the number one ranking for me, that's going to belong to the Fisherman jerseys. These things are awesome. Yes, a lot of people might disagree with me. Let me know down below your thoughts. But for me, yes, the Fisherman jerseys are number one overall. Without a doubt, they are probably the nicest jerseys, and they do have quite a bit of historical value to the franchise. I thought we were going to be getting them 2 years ago when they released them, but nope, this is the year we get them. So, I mean, in my opinion, these are the best jerseys. Obviously, you might think differently. Let me know down below. But as we move on to number two, it just seems like the Arizona Coyotes can never do bad when it comes to making new jerseys. This one's no different. They do have a very nice logo with the design, especially with the little cactuses that you can't really see on the screen. But if you ever get a chance, zoom in on it right on the bottom, you can actually see the nice little coyote looking jersey. Very nice jersey indeed, especially sort of fits where and is meaningful to them. If they might only have 5,000 people in their arena, but the 5,000 people hopefully will be wearing these jerseys come at least the fall time, which is pretty much right now. So we are looking forward to seeing what goes on in Arizona so they can fill out and hopefully get their own stadium up and running the next few years. Hopefully this is a step in the right direction for them. Number three, we're going to go with the Washington Capitals. And this one, sort of the Ovi throwbacks. When I see that jersey, I immediately think of Ovi. Probably one of the nicer jerseys they've had in their history. For me, that's why they're going at number three, and it is definitely meaningful. Number four, we have good old Johnny Canuck. Yes, we are Canadian. Yes, yes, and yes. So for me, Johnny Canuck has to be on here. It might not be the best looking jersey, but it is definitely meaningful to the Canuck franchise. And this is basically what you see as a Canuck figure, which is basically a Canadian person that resembles just sort of that stereotypical Canadian. I love the look. Definitely a great jersey idea. But with number five, this is where the bias might kick in. Yes, I'm also a Bruins fan, as you can see behind me. So we are putting the two biased picks back to back here with the Bruins at five. I think this is a great looking jersey. We're bringing back the Pooh Bear. Big fan of it. So for me, Boston goes in at number five with number six coming up here. We are going to go with the Robo Penguins, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think this jersey looks very nice. Nice, sleek look. Definitely has that throwback feel. I'm a big fan of it. So that's sort of one of the main reasons. Number seven, we're going to pay a homage to the old Colorado Rockies. That was the former NHL team before, not the baseball team, but the former NHL team that then moved to New Jersey. So yeah, that actually comes in a little bit later on today. But Colorado moving in at seven. This also is their state flag. So say it as you will. For me, I like to say it's the Rockies jersey, but it is most likely for the state flag. But speaking of baseball and sort of on the lines, for those who know me, I am indeed a big baseball fan. So when we have with the Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Expos jerseys, baby blues aren't just by accident as much as one might think. But with that being said, that's why we have Montreal here at 8. I really do like it, and it's too bad they ever left. But hopefully at some point we'll see another baseball team up here in Canada. But with that, we'll move on to the 9th pick, and this is where we get into our second tier And this one is going to be the old California Golden Seals throwback, and really what they're trying to do here with the San Jose Sharks. I think it looks very nice overall. I just don't think it looks as nice as some of the other jerseys, which is why it's lower. Definitely has that sort of meaningful look to the franchise, paying homage to the old California Golden Seals. They aren't necessarily the San Jose team, but with that being said, definitely still a good look. Still that throwback type look. But now we'll move on to number 10 with the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Vegas Golden Knights, obviously not a lot of historic figures in their franchise quite yet, but what they do is pretty much just do what Vegas is meant, what really is meant for, and what you really think about when you see or hear the term Vegas. Yes, it's that casino type look with the big Vegas letters coming down the side. I like the jersey. I think it's meaningful, and it's definitely creative to put on a hockey jersey. But we'll move on to number 11, and we have the Kings jersey. In my opinion, this is one of the better looking jerseys, and really sort of, when you look at it, think back to those 80s teams where they had that big crown on their chest. Definitely a very solid team, and I think that when you look at the jersey, sort of resembles that old team, and I think it is definitely what you're looking for in a reverse retro jersey. For me, they're going in at number 11. Moving on to number 12, we have quite similar to last year with the Minnesota Wild, paying homage to the Minnesota North Stars. For me, they didn't get too creative this year. It was a very nice jersey last year, sort of just inverted colors. So for me, they are going to stay on pretty high on this list, but they aren't necessarily going to be at the top like they would have been last year. You got to get more creative. And once again, same thing here with the Rangers, very similar to last year's jersey. So we're going to sort of put those two teams together. Moving on here, we have Nashville. Nashville brings back the saber-tooth mustards. And when you look at this one, it's sort of one of those jerseys where people either hate it or love it. For me, I'm in the middle. I'm one of those guys that doesn't hate it, doesn't love it, just sort of thinks it's a decent jersey overall. But a lot of people think that it's probably going to be either last on this list or first. And it definitely has that meaningful aspect. Probably one of the most controversial jerseys of all time. And widely regarded as, by some eyes, the worst jersey in NHL history. For me, I don't find it that bad. But we'll move on here with the number 15 pick with Edmonton. And with Edmonton, it's an oil slick. It resembles what the Oilers are. And for me, I don't hate it. I think it looks okay. I don't think it's a great looking jersey. I think the logo could have been a little bit better. But of course, it does have that historical value from years past. So we're going to put it at 15. And with the next pick, 16 with Florida. Definitely an interesting jersey design. Really sort of showing Florida as a whole on a hockey jersey with the blue, the yellow, and obviously the palm trees. For me, I think it's a good jersey. I just think it's a little bit too much like a summer sport jersey. But overall, it's Florida. You can't really expect much more there. So move on to number 17 with the Dallas Stars. And this one is definitely a meaningful jersey. You look back, you sort of see what used to be in Dallas with sort of Mike Modano and those guys. So for me, put it at 17, call it what it is. It's a good jersey. It's nothing special for me. It's going to sit at number 17. Number 18 here with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think this is a really underrated jersey with the little blue jacket. I think it's a nice little touch. Overall, it's not the nicest looking jersey, but it's also not the worst for me. They're going to stick them at 18. And then with number 19, the Leafs jersey. Once again, if you put those two jerseys in front of me, their current home, and this jersey, I'd tell you they're probably from the same team and they're sort of the same idea. So they didn't get too creative here, but at the same time, nice jersey. Sort of gives that old Leafs look. So for me, we're going to put them at number 19. And coming in at number 20, we're going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes. Very similar to the Leafs. You could sort of, they have the exact same jersey in the white. So for me, you can't really tell them apart. You could probably say, you could argue the Canes are the same as their whites. But with that being said, we move on to 21 here with the old Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Last year, they had a little duck jumping. This year, they just have the old Mighty Ducks logo. Definitely a good look. So for me, they're going to come in at number 21 here. Number 22, we're going to have another old type logo with the Buffalo Sabres, with their old saber. I do like this jersey a lot. I think it is a very nice jersey. Of course, it is a little bit on the plain side. The creativity could have been a little bit better here. But at the same time, bring back the old logo and making it nice and simple. Can never go too wrong with that. And as we move on to number 23 on this list, we do have the New Jersey Devils. And as I previously mentioned, they are trying to pay homage to the old Colorado Rockies. who their team did become, and you can see it in the color scheme here with that blue, the yellow, and the red, and we put it into here. One of the big things I think is missing, and I read this somewhere, is it just looks like they have the wrong logo slapped on the jersey. I think they could have done a lot better here, especially with the logo itself. And as you sort of move in here, these sort of the jerseys where I'm sort of on the fence about. I don't really like them that much. I think they could have done a lot better. And for me, the Devils are sort of the start of this list, where the logo just sort of looks out of place, and I really do agree with that. But we'll move on here with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is an interesting jersey. I think they did, as much as I hate to say it, I think they did too much on this jersey, especially in that creative department. I want to say creative was probably one of the most interesting topics, especially when it comes to new jerseys. So for me, having to put a jersey like the Tampa Bay Lightning is a little bit odd for me. It just looks like they overdid it with the lightning bolts and all the other stuff on that jersey. So for me, Tampa Bay is going to come in at number 24. As we move on to number 25, we have the St. Louis Blues. And another one of these examples, probably doing a little bit too much, trying to look a little bit too old here with the Blues. And it is an interesting look. I'm not going to say it's a terrible look, but it is definitely interesting. And for me, I got to put it nice and low on this list just because there really is nothing really that good about this jersey. It just looks like someone decided to get a little old-fashioned with it. And for me, as much as old-fashioned jerseys do look good, for me, I can't put them that high on this list. Moving on to number 26 on the list, we have the Winnipeg Jets. So with the Winnipeg Jets, it is a very plain-looking jersey. They didn't get too creative with it. I mean, they do have sort of that blue in their logo. I don't know if that's really worth putting it high on this list. It is a very basic jersey, so you obviously can't go too wrong with it. But at the same time, you look at these sort of jerseys, you want to get creative, want to try and make it as fashionable as possible. So for me, the Jets are quite low on this list just because of that reason. And as we move on here, we have 27 with the Ottawa Senators, and just the little stripes I don't think does it for me. As much as it is an interesting looking jersey, for me, it's just not quite it. So we're going to put Ottawa here at number 27. And as we move on to the back-to-back jerseys here, very similar looking jerseys with Detroit and Chicago, 28 and 29. So for me, these two jerseys are the same. They tried to go with that old look. For me, they didn't quite get there. Obviously, they're trying to go with the original 6 looking jerseys. So for me, I can't say that they are the best looking jerseys I've ever seen, but they aren't necessarily the worst like the Flyers, because what are you doing with the Flyers, right? So moving on here, with the last two, we have Seattle. Obviously, Seattle doesn't have too much to pull from, so I understand what they're trying to get at. But when you have a reverse retro jersey, you know what you can do here. Obviously, you can pull from anything, including like Kraken, and you could have made a really cool looking jersey. You just sort of chose not to, putting a whole bunch of colors on a jersey. Once again, if I can make it on Chell, you probably can do better than me. So with that being said, move on to the final jersey here in Calgary. And I'm still trying to figure out why we're doing this with the little stripe coming up the top. For me, it's not quite what we want to see. So for me, that's why Calgary is going to be the second last, coming in at 31st. So this is my list. If you have any doubts, any comments, please let me know down below. But with that, I've made it this far in the video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really like, consider subscribing. Tell all your friends and comment down below your thoughts on my list. Until next time, see ya.